Well, good afternoon, and welcome to this week's edition of Drive Facebook Live. I'm your host, Bob Spitz, with my friend Tony Whistler, the co-host.
Hello.
And today we have some special guests on hand here. We have Jim Saley, longtime Drive team member and the master of seminar speaking and shop inspections, and John Starkey, Starkey's Auto in Hawaii. And you can see John is hard at work in the shop there. Is this any way to run a shop?
Got the
Good,
wetsuit
good,
on.
good morning and aloha. This is where I'm at. So we're out at Ko'olina Boat Harbor on the southwest shore of Oahu. Just got out of the water from doing a little foiling. Tow foiling is what I love to do every morning. You can go on YouTube, put in tow like tow truck, foiling like tin foil, and see what we do. We ride a board that has a hydrofoil attached to it, and it's a lot of fun.
Wow.
Cool.
So there you go. Yeah, not a bad.
What a way to run a shop.
What a way to run a shop.
Yeah.
And today, the topic of today is shop inspections, on-site shop inspections.
Yep.
Now, this is a program Drive launched about 20 years ago, and Jim has been heading up that program now for 10 years, Jim?
It's probably a little bit longer than that.
Probably a little bit longer than that.
Probably closer to 15 by the time we look at it.
Probably around 15 years, yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, it started as an idea to give us more of a bird's eye view of what's going on in a shop. We teach all these systems and processes and procedures, and well, we'd like to trust but verify that these things are being put in place. And so Jim has taken the original concept and he's fine-tuned it to what it is today. And Jim, welcome to Drive Facebook Live.
Thank you, Bob, and it's good to be here. And yes, it's interesting when you start looking back at the years, how they add up rather quickly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember going on my first inspection with you back on the East Coast. We went to a couple of different shops, and then you were like, "Okay,
I've had enough.
Over to you. You can handle this." So, and then it just evolved from there. Absolutely, and gone to many shops all over the U.S., Canada, even Hawaii, which was really cool.
Yeah,
and Alaska. Haven't you done Alaska too?
Alaska as well, yes. Well, that's the U.S. It's still the U.S.
Well, ask them that.
That's right.
Yeah, right? ask FedEx if that's Hawaii, or if that's
that's
United States, exactly.
FedEx and UPS.
Yes, been up there as well, but and then of course Larry was over in Oman, so I guess we can say we're worldwide with this thing.
Yeah, that's right, worldwide.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's an interesting program, and I think it's a great service. But it has to be done by someone who's very familiar with how a shop should run.
Yep.
Because you can't spot things that are wrong if you don't know how it's supposed to look. And that's why you were a fabulous candidate for turning that program over to. And I was very happy to do that.
Yes.
He's got a good team too. It's not just him anymore.
Yep, not just me anymore. I've got some people with me as well that are doing them, but it's interesting going into a shop and they're all shops, different sizes, shapes. I've done them all different stages as well, and the interesting thing is in doing them there, it's really to help the shop owner. I know I get a lot of different feelings about coming to do a shop inspection and what the shop owner's expecting, and he's wants to make sure everything's perfect and all of that. But the reality is, if I can see the shop working the way it normally does, that's the best way to see it. So I can help the shop owner see what they're not seeing, or not even necessarily that, guiding them to how to fix what they got going on. So
right.
That's really the key.
Oh, but by the way, John, your GM, Zach, is asking what's going on.
Hey Zach, thanks for running the shop. We're actually having quite a week, and we're going to set a new record this week for our best week ever, and Zach and the team are doing such an awesome job. I love that guy and I love my team. And, it's fortunate for me, to have such a great team because it wasn't always that way. And I think that's what a lot of people need to understand is that it takes time and it takes diligence and it takes making a plan and sticking to the plan. And it's so easy to put your guard down or say, "Oh, it's okay, this is fine." It's not. It's not okay. It's not fine. You have to act. You have to act fast. You can't get any of these days back. And Zach's done a tremendous job in getting us to where we're at today because so many of his strengths are my weaknesses. And the very first action item on Jim's to-do list for me is get out of Zach's way. And I thought I was out of his way, but I guess I got to get more out of his way. So
There you go.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a good point, John, because what tends to happen is since you're there all the time, you don't necessarily see that going on, right? You don't think that
Right.
you're involved or doing something or cutting across what he's trying to get done and actually in his way. And it's not that it's not that John was micromanaging or anything like that, but just imagine if a technician comes to John and John tells him one thing after Zach just told him something else, and he doesn't even know that conversation went on, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and then there you go. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
The
want to
way this
share
all
with us, John? John, for those of you who might not know you, which is maybe 3 or 4 people at this point,
Exactly.
Am I that
tell them,
popular?
yeah, what kind of
Not
shop
that
you
popular.
have, the size of the shop, the size of your team, and if you want to share your numbers.
Yeah, so we're a 10,000 square foot shop. I have 10, actually, as of this next week, we're going to have 12 lifts and one more that's going to be installed soon to give us 13. I have 8 technicians. I have 3 service writers in-house. My daughter writes from Oregon. She writes aftermarket warranties for us. She's doing a tremendous job. I think she's written I can't even remember this week, 14,000 this week or something like that, and still more to add to that today. And then Zach writes for my dealers, so he's helping out with that. I have a shop helper, I have a safety inspector, I have a shop foreman. Right now, I think we're about 16 employees, 17 employees maybe. And I think that in 2027, we're going to expand to 18 lifts. We'll probably have about 25 employees if everything goes as planned. We're doing 3 million a year. We're going to hit at least 3.5, and I think 4 is in striking range this year. We are in Honolulu, Hawaii. It's an underserviced market. There's a lot of opportunity here. We're the biggest shop in Hawaii, and it's grown really. We had no walk-in customers up until 2020. Once COVID hit, and we had to diversify because all we were doing was dealer work. We had maybe 1 or 2 walk-ins a day. iHeartRadio walked in and gave me $250,000 in free advertising. They wanted to help a local business during COVID, and off we went. And it just has not stopped. It actually got scary for a while because when you grow that fast, it's terrifying. If you don't know what you're doing, you don't know the numbers, you can't tell if you're making money, losing. You could lose a lot of money and think you have money, and that's kind of a
Right.
scary thought. But yeah, that's where we're at today as far as the business goes. I actually am gonna go out. I just subscribed to Salesforce.com. I got some brochures made for fleets, and I'm gonna hit the road. I'm a field sales rep by trade. That's what I've done most of my life, and I'm gonna go out and hit the road and get us a lot more business in the form of fleets. So that's pretty exciting, and I'm looking at getting into Tesla repair. We have probably as many Teslas per capita, if not more, than anywhere else in the United States. So that's another market. I have Tesla's lead tech. We hired him recently. So yeah, there's tons. There's so much opportunity. It's kind of like where do you want to go and how much do you want? It's kind of like going to a buffet that full of your favorite food. It's like just keep eating till you can't walk.
There you
That's
go.
fantastic. Well, well done on your success. And you mentioned you have a safety officer.
Yeah, we have a safety inspection. It's a state safety inspection.
Oh,
So
state safety inspection.
state safety inspections. Yeah. So we do those. We have no appointments necessary. We get 65 first-time customers per week on average, and a lot of those come through the safety inspection. So then we convert them into a regular customer. That's what we do with our marketing is focused towards that. Zach does a great job. My CSR at the front, which I want to talk about her because that was one of the biggest, like, wow, like moments of Jim's visit. I had no clue that she wanted to be a service advisor someday. And so we had 170 Google reviews and we were a 4-star 4 months ago. I have 300, just I think 298, 300 maybe today, and we're a 4.4. All of the reviews she got me were 5-star, except for 2 were 4s. And one of the 4s, they said all great things about us, but still gave us a 4. That teacher that'll never give anybody an A. And then we got one
That's right.
4 from somebody who failed their safety inspection, but still liked us. So, that wasn't our
That's great.
fault. Yeah. And I can talk a little bit too about how I ended up with Jim in the inspection. So I was in you guys have talked quite a bit about the top 20 group. And for those who don't know, that's a group of your peers that Drive connects you with. We have weekly meetings. We feed off of each other. There's a focus shop every week, and we talk about whatever is going, wrong in their shop. And all of us put our heads together and we try to help them. I think the word top is a little deceiving because I don't necessarily think we're just all the top guys that Drive has, because there's a lot of great shops that are not in our program. It's a 20 group is what it is. And I was in a meeting with them one day, and I was telling them, I've got some things in my shop I want to work on. And for those of you who have had Jim come and do an inspection, can you send your inspections to me so I can go through and see what he pointed out in your shop and see if it's a problem in my shop? And then the guys are like, sure. And one of them sent it, and then another one sent it. And one of them's like, hey, why don't you just have Jim come out and do one? Like, I know you're in Hawaii, but I don't think it's too terribly expensive for him to go out there. I'm sure Drive would love to send him out, and he would love to go to Hawaii. He might even bring his wife, which he did.
Yeah, that's right.
And even though
Thank
she
you
doesn't
for the
like to
brownie
fly,
points on that, John.
yeah. Even though she doesn't like to fly, he did bring her out to Hawaii.
Yep.
And we went out, we had a dinner, and I was thinking to myself, I made a whole list of everything I'm going to do to prepare for this, right? I'm going to clean this, I'm going to clean that, I'm going to paint this, I'm going to replace the sign, I'm going to post more stats. And you know what? I was telling my group that I was getting ready for Jim's visit, and they said, the best thing to do is nothing. Like what Jim just said, absolutely nothing. So I threw it away, and I didn't clean my desk. I didn't scrub anything. I did tell the staff he was coming. I was thinking about not even telling them, but he interviewed them all, so they knew he was coming. And it's like, he got to watch us on a regular old day. He got to see my messy desk, which he noted down. It was a little bit too messy, so I got to work on that. And and he noticed a lot of things that I already know are problems in the shop. We're addressing a lot of it. But he also pointed out some other things that, I didn't see, or, I wouldn't have seen. And then the interviews with my staff was really, really awesome. A lot of my staff members really opened up to him, even more so than they do to me or Zach. And Jim made some good recommendations in his report on what maybe we should work on. And then we went in and had the efficiency workshop, which was a Saturday. So the visit he came by Thursday just for a quick drop-by visit to see what it was all about and where we were, and try to get around our humongous traffic that we have in our construction, because they're building a train rail straight down my street. So you got to see that. And then on Friday he came, and I think did I go surfing on Friday? I can't remember.
You were surfing in the morning. Yeah, you were surfing in the morning.
Yeah,
so you had called me. You had called me a few days before, or about a week before. You said, I might be a little bit later than normal because we may get those 50-foot waves, and I can't miss
we had
that.
a big swell coming.
It didn't happen.
Yeah, we had a
And
long-range forecast that was showing huge surf.
And like you were saying, you don't want to change anything you're doing when he shows up. So when you go
That's right.
surfing
Let's
every
get an
morning,
honest
you can't
picture.
change that.
That's right.
Yes. So I did exactly what I was doing this morning, and I showed up, and he was already, full on in the shop, talking to the employees, watching what they're doing, and I think it's really, everybody really enjoyed it. All of my employees enjoyed it. They wanted to get some feedback from the report. I was told, don't share the whole report with your staff, but you can, give them bullet points and let them know, hey, there's a lot of things we do great here. We're doing $3 million a year. All of our numbers are very strong, and it's like, but there's a few things that we could do better and make the shop run more smoothly. A smoothly run shop doing the numbers we do is a very profitable shop, meaning everybody makes a little bit more money and has a better environment. Yeah. So it was fun. We had a great time. The efficiency workshop was awesome. The staff really opened up. and
Yep.
they were talking amongst themselves, that I've never heard conversations like what they were talking about to each other. And I've heard the bickering, but it's like, it's not bickering in this efficiency workshop. It's okay, we see these as problems. How do we fix these problems?
Right.
What steps can we take to address this? And that's what's so important, because anybody can bicker. It's one of the things I hate about this industry. And I think all industries, I see even basketball players, yelling at each other, yelling at the coach or whatever. Even in the Super Bowl, we saw whatever his name was yelling at his coach. It's like,
Oh,
Taylor's
Oh,
boyfriend.
Kelsey.
But,
Yeah, Kelsey.
it's like, yeah, right. You tell how much I watch.
Yeah, very not
I'm a surfer,
very not
but,
productive.
Yeah, it isn't. I
No,
wanted to
not
mention one
productive.
thing because you were talking about the efficiency workshop. That is a service that we provide also with the on-site inspection if you want to
Right.
have it. It's a separate service, but because the person's there already, just to let anybody know, it's a workshop. And Jim, when he's there doing the on-site inspection, he actually gathers them all up and they do a little workshop right there. Did you do it right in the shop, right in the bays, or
So,
where did
so yeah, I can go over that a little bit more, Tony. So, the key with the efficiency workshop, it's getting everybody there. And John has a lunchroom area, so we set up in there. So it really depends on the space. It's just having a place for them to sit and put some chairs out. I have workbooks that come with me, and we go over points of efficiency. But the interesting thing that I have always found with the efficiency workshop, and exactly what you said, John, is they talked about the issues that you're having, and you have talked about, or you've mentioned, or you've tried to work out. And it's just sometimes having a different person along with your group to just direct or point things out. And all of a sudden, there's an interaction that happens instead of the bickering, instead of yeah, we know this is a problem and not coming up with solutions. Or I will say something that the owner has said 5,000 times, and all of a sudden the guys in the workshop say, wow,
Oh, hey,
that's a
that's a
really
great
good
idea.
idea. I never heard that
First time we've
before.
ever heard that. Yeah.
And then you're like,
exactly?
what the heck? Well, sometimes
Yeah.
it's just having somebody from the outside say it, that finally it clicks with them, or saying it maybe in a little bit of a different way. And as a matter of fact, the efficiency workshop is one of the workshops, I would say one of the top workshops I enjoy doing, because I watch the crew change from when we first start to when we're done, and how
Mhm.
everybody's working well together. And then when I was talking to you yesterday, John, and you were saying you're about to have the best week ever, I don't necessarily see the results after the inspection, but I do see that I can look at your numbers and see that they improve. But that's awesome to hear, because that's feedback for me that I know they're working better together, which is really cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole
I
idea
know
is
our
to get the
shop.
crew more in communication with each other.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know our shop, in the 10,000 square feet we have, I know we can run at $4 million. I know we can, because I've done the math and I see where we're not 100. Our tech efficiency is always around 100 or better, but we're not 100% utilizing the shop. So we need to do a better job of utilizing the entire square footage of the space we have. And that's really where I need my technicians to understand that, hey, if I put this, John has a lot of lifts, and I some of my technicians, let's see, 4 of them have 2 lifts. Yeah, 3 of them. One of them's part-time, so it's hard for him. But anyway, they have 2 lifts, and I have one technician who always parks a car on the lift and then he just lets it sit there. It's kind of like a very expensive parking stall. And
Yeah.
it's like I need to make sure that I utilize that space better. And if we can roll out everything in Jim's plan that he gave me, I know for sure that the smoothness in which we operate will make the shop 100% efficient in the space we have. So that's kind of one of my real, missions over the next year or so, is to get that shop 100% utilized with 100% tech efficiency or better. And then I know that our numbers are going to pop big. We may do 4.5 in that space once we expand. I asked Zach, it's funny, when I came back from Florida, I was sitting there in Florida. I think it was the first day, and we're listening to the first presentation, and I'm thinking to myself, do I want to run $1 million a month shop? And I'm like, well, if I don't have to change too much about the way I live, I think, and Zach wants that because he's going to buy my shop someday. It's like, why not? Why not?
Right. Why not?
Bigger is better if it's run smoothly. If
Right.
it's chaos, bigger is certainly not better. But if it's
Yeah.
smooth, why not?
Well,
Very
we used to
cool.
talk about that, John. We're talking about guys who had great gross sales but no bottom line because gross is just gross. You
Yeah,
know,
that's
what
that
what
that
good is
feeds the
25
ego.
million and no bottom line?
Yeah,
Right.
that's an ego. That's an ego boost right there.
Yeah.
Look at me, but I don't have any money.
Yeah.
But we sure bring in a lot.
We sure it all comes in and all goes right back out.
Yeah.
So, Jim, why don't you just walk through your process,
Sure.
the shop inspection from soup to nuts here?
Yeah, so it starts with a call to the owner of the shop to find out, what they have going on, what their goals are, what are they running into, things that they have their attention on, and then gather numbers as well as financial statements, that kind of thing. Also now what John says, I do interviews with the guys, but what I started doing is I actually started using our Playbook app and sending out an assignment where they have a questionnaire they fill out, which are the questions I usually ask while I'm there, but it gets them to think about the questions before I get there and give them a chance to actually answer them. And the responses are very helpful because that helps guide me. And when I go into the shop, what do I look at? So that's the preliminary gathering of some information. Then from there, of course, we set a date, come out to do the inspection. And I'm there the first thing in the morning when the shop opens up or before the shop opens up even. Watch how it opens up, have everybody do what they normally do. And this is something I stress to the owner and I tell the guys when I'm there, I introduce myself and I say, keep doing what you normally do. I don't want to stop you from working. I just want to see how things go, kind of like a fly on the wall. And then I just observe. It's an observation, asking questions when I'm unsure of how something's handled. And then I do go around and talk to everybody and get more feedback from them, just watch situations, scenarios, how they go, how they're handled. And then I gather all that information up and take a whole bunch of notes. Lots of pictures. Pictures are awesome. And from that information, I go back and then put together a report. And I say this to the owners of the shop. I said, the report actually takes me a longer time than it does to be there for the day or for the weekend. Because I really sit down and dive in and digest everything and then figure out the plus points, the things that really need to improve, those major points, and then, like John said, lay out a plan which shows everything that I observed while I was there. Then there's a summary, just kind of summarize everything, and then a direction to help the shop owner get from where he is right now to where he wants to go and what steps he needs to take to do that. So an actual action plan of things to do. And of course, that report's gone over with their coach, and their coach is there to guide them in helping them implement the changes. So that's
Yeah.
that's
Awesome.
it in a nutshell. The efficiency workshop, when it's tied to it, one of the really cool things is sometimes guys don't want to open up and start talking about things. But when I was at the shop, I observed certain things happen during the day, and that helps me to say, hey, John, do you remember when Mrs. Smith came in and the part was wrong? And, when we're talking about efficiency issues, and it's like, yeah, and it gets the conversation going. So it really, they work hand in hand because of being there and being able to actually guide and help. And that's the whole purpose. It's really to help the shop owner get from where they are now to where they want to go. If you're kind of stuck, it's a beautiful way to get unstuck because it's having just an outside observer really show you, hey, this is what we see going on. This is a direction for you to go in. So yeah, that's
And how
it.
powerful is that action checklist? Like once he gets that thing written up, and how was that for you, John?
It was a real eye opener because it's kind of like, like when I got my report, Carla said, "Okay, Jim's almost done with your report." And I said, "Okay, when's he going to send it to me?" And she said, "He's not." She said, "He's sending it to me, and I need a couple days to go over it, and then I'm going to go over it with you." And not only did she go over it with me, she read every single word in that report to me. And we talked about it. And we talked about, like, okay, what are we going to do about this? What are we going to do about that? How are we going to handle this? How are we going to handle that? And it's basically, it's also her eyes into my shop because she hasn't been here yet to my shop. So, it's really good for her. Now she's got all these pictures. She's got Jim's report. And now I've got to be like, and like Jim said, it's like being held accountable. You can stroke your ego all you want and fluff your KPIs, but when Jim's in the house, it is what it is. If you're running one of those, what shows, then it's going to show in his inspection. So when I got that, I shared it with Zach and I said, we're going to use this as the basis of our 2024 business plan. We already have a lot of things we're working on, but we're going to use this and we're going to build the plan around Jim's report. So by the time we're done with 2024, and hopefully the top 20 comes out to Hawaii next year for those who are on the call, there's talks of that. We should have a lot of that stuff in place, and I can't change the beauty of the building. It's kind of, we're in an old rundown part of town, but you certainly can make it really, really nice inside and run top notch. I mean, why not? This is not our test life for our next life. This is our shop. This is our business. This is what we chose to do. And you might as well give it your all and do the best you can every day. And, that I appreciate Jim coming out. It was really an awesome experience. And I'll do it again someday once we get to the next level.
Awesome. And
Awesome.
I appreciate your hospitality when I was there, John. We had an awesome time. But
Yeah, it was fun.
it's something interesting that you said there, and I want to point that out. You said, the building is what it is, and that's all I can do with it. The inspection doesn't focus on that. It focuses on where you're at and where you need to go and what's the things that are holding you up. And that's one of the things, like when you were saying you wanted to clean up and everything else, and that is the thing that I get all the time. It's like, I didn't clean up, I didn't do that. And I'm like, you know what? Those points are minor, and those are things that anybody can do. It's what are the things you need to do to help you get you
Right.
go. That's
Or that you don't know you
inspecting
need to
those
do.
systems.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
By the way, John, Adam Jadovitz says hi.
Yep.
Aloha, Adam. I love Adam. I've been to his shop.
Yep.
Good
I've
guy.
been to his
Very good
shop
guy.
too.
Yeah, I'm actually from Southern California, so I'm not too far from where he is where I grew up.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hopefully we'll get Adam out here before he heads to Mexico.
There you
Yeah,
go.
right. Because he's getting
Absolutely.
itchy. He's getting itchy there. 'Cause,
Adam's gonna be looking at this every day, right?
Yeah, that's right.
There you go. There you
maybe
go.
maybe that's an Adam's future right
Oh,
there.
wait a second. That boat wasn't there before, was it?
They just rolled up.
They just rolled up. There you go. Look at that.
They just rolled up.
Yeah.
You're actually there to pick John up. Just he's
Yeah.
kidding. He didn't tell you. That's where he's really going next.
Yeah. He's
So I
heading
don't have
the
to go
other
back.
island.
I don't have to go back on the jet ski. I get to go back on that boat, maybe.
There you go.
Yeah.
For those
Hey,
who joined us late, I'm over on the southwest point of the island. I got to go back to Honolulu on my jet ski. We were just
Via
out here
jet ski.
Poor guy.
via jet ski. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Tony, I think we have a station break here.
Yeah, quick one. Next Friday, March 22nd, our special guest will be Mark Probst from Probst Auto Body of Dietrich, Illinois. And that's going to be a lot of fun because Mark is a fun guy too. He's a lot of fun to hang out with.
Yeah,
And
you've got a great story.
Yep, and
Yes.
we're going to chat it up with him for about a half hour.
That's cool.
And then,
And
of course,
Dietrich-
always.
Dietrich
Wow,
is
what-
a very small town too.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
I
yeah,
know.
There you go.
And he's done big things in a very
Hundreds,
small town.
like hundreds of people live there. Just
Yeah, hundreds.
yeah, hundreds.
That's
Not
right.
thousands, hundreds.
I have hundreds on my street.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. And let's not forget, we do have an expo coming up in June in Dallas. So right behind us, you
Right,
can see
right
all that
behind you
info.
guys.
Wrong way. There it is, and we're teamed up with Toman, and it's going to be a great expo in Dallas. So it should be easy for everybody to get to, except possibly John.
We'll be there.
So
We're going.
Oh,
Zach and I we'll never miss that.
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
and you
awesome.
can get a direct flight to Dallas.
We might get a direct. We might get a
Yeah,
direct.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
I
may
bet
It's
be
a
you
right.
hub.
Yeah.
It's a hub.
It's a big hub.
Just part of your thing there, Tony, with I've done some things with American Toman and the guys
Mhm.
there. Awesome group of people. Awesome group of people. So I'm really excited to see this expo and everything that's going to have to offer. So you
That's
guys don't
awesome.
want to miss it for sure.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank John for being with us, taking his time to be with us, and Jim, of course.
Thank you for having me. Thanks,
Yes,
guys.
Great to
Thanks for
see
having me.
you. And thanks to everybody who tuned in. I wish you all a great afternoon and a great weekend. And from Tony and I, from Drive Facebook Live, you all take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, bye
Bye-bye.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, thanks.